Ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of this film is to give a brief survey of the kind of programs which have been and are being transmitted by the BBC television service. We want to emphasize that it has been made for demonstration purposes, that is, for manufacturers and viewing rooms only. It is not intended for home reception. Most televised programs, as most of you know, are transmitted direct and not from film. We are particularly anxious that those of you who should be watching this demonstration should not receive the impression that television programs are simply televised film transmissions.
Since the opening of the television service in November 1936, the programs transmitted have covered a wide range of entertainment and interest. A great part of the time has been given to light entertainment, in which many cabaret and variety artists have been used. But drama and ballet have also been well represented. Opera and revue have been attempted, and a variety of outside broadcasts have been carried out in the grounds of Alexandra Park. Talks by experts on many subjects have been given, with appropriate illustrations. Before passing on to show you some of the artists and speakers as they appeared in the studio, we show you the television orchestra with its conductor, Chaim Greenbaum. Ladies and gentlemen, the television orchestra.
I believe that what sound broadcasting has done for music, television may do for painting and sculpture. In the last few months, I've been taking works from the London galleries to the Alexandra Palace and commenting on them and showing them. In the comments that I've made, I've tried to be impartial, but I've kept in mind all the time the high percentage of so-called modern art that's always to be seen in London galleries nowadays. This is a painting, a landscape, by the English master Thomas Gainsborough from the Agnew collection. It's an example of Gainsborough's early work before he went to Bath and executed his famous portraits. And this is a masterpiece of another kind. It's a contemporary painting by a Spanish artist whose work, although he's over 50 and his reputation is enormous, still causes many quarrels. His name is Picasso. This picture is very intense in color and very lovely. I think quite as lovely in its own way as the Gainsborough in its way. And finally, this is a carving by the young English sculptor Henry Moore. It's a carving in wood. Moore is a Yorkshireman in his 30s, and he has a rapidly rising reputation among critics and connoisseurs.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to show you one of the visitors in our series of outside broadcasts, Golfers in Action. Our visitor on this occasion is C.A. Whitcomb, who, as most of you know, captained the English Ryder Cup team last year, 1936. He's going to demonstrate various shots, and he's going to start off with a drive. So now let's get on with the show. Before you actually drive, I'd like you to demonstrate to viewers the difference between the grip used by yourself and your brother, which I believe is known as the interlocking grip, and the ordinary overlapping grip.
Our grip, we term the interlock. That is, you interlock the two fingers, placing the thumbs round the shaft. Whereas, as you know, the overlap is the little finger of the right hand overlapping the first finger of the left hand when the thumb's down the shaft.
Yes, quite. Well, perhaps you'd like to drive for us so that we can see just how far it goes. I know it goes a long way. A beauty.
Have you tried your new gas masks yet? Here they are. Aren't they marvelous? 311 3 girls. The only trouble is when you try and talk through the blow and suck department here, it makes the most immoral noises. But still, there it is. We shall all have to wear them. Father will still go to work, catching the 8:15, walking down the road, saying goodbye to Mother. Isn't it silly? And the flapper, she'll still flap as of yore. Yes, and if she wants to give the glad eye, she'll do it with her windscreen wiper.
Now we're going to show you some of our special favorites from the zoo. First being Peter, a chimpanzee, which everybody knows and everybody's very fond of. He's a particularly intelligent chimpanzee, more so than the majority of them. They're all intelligent, and as you probably know, the chimpanzees are the nearest relations to the human race. This is Peter. Next one we're showing you is a cockatoo named Old Bill. He's a slender-billed cockatoo from Australia and a very excellent talker. He's said to be 85 years old, and I quite believe he's all that. And now we are going to hear Old Bill talk.
You all right? Yes, I'm quite well, thank you. Now let's have a little dance. Come along. Oh. La 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 la. What? You all right? Come on, give us a kiss. You all right? Come and shake hands. Come on, Bill. Up.
In Britain, we have the finest roads in the world, and they are being improved to satisfy the most modern standards. Surfacing, width, alignment, all these are being made better and better. And these roads are for the use of all. Amenities, too, have been regarded. The natural setting of the roads is being preserved, and trees and shrubs everywhere are being planted. Everything possible is being done for your convenience, happiness, and pleasure. On work days and on holidays, you may travel on the roads of Britain with this assurance. But there is one disgrace on the roads which it does not rest with the road engineer to improve. Death is brought to 16 people every day, and 600 people are injured. This means that a vast number of homes are bereaved and left in permanent suffering. Now, accidents do not happen, they are caused. They bring so much unnecessary misery and pain. I appeal to all those who use the roads to remember to use them in such a spirit that accidents will be avoided.
And I'll try and give you a little idea of the birth of Old Bill as it occurred on the walls of a farm in that war that we had not so very long ago. I hope you remember that war I'm speaking about. It was mentioned in most of the papers at the time. But I just want you to imagine a nice clammy wet night, pouring with rain, and all the leaves been cancelled and the rum hasn't come up, and Old Bill's feeling a little bit like this. It's more or less a picture of a state of mind, this. I know the real words that Bill's saying, but I don't think I'd better say them here. Now, he's wearing one of these balaclava helmets. You know those woolen things that one pulled over the top of the head in those days? I think I ought to just tell you the story of Old Bill's balaclava. He was writing home to his wife, Maggie, and in one of his letters he said, "Will you please thank the parson's daughter for the pair of socks she sent me? One I'm using as a balaclava helmet and the other to keep my change of clothes in." He's also wearing one of those fur coats, you know, this kind of fur coat that one wore it for 6 months and then you had to take it round the back of a farm and shoot it. But also at the same time, I had to put in some of this rubber stamped scenery that you see here, a shell hole right through the end of a barn like this, and 3 pieces of wood that nobody could ever knock down like that. And there, that just gives you a little rough idea of the birth of Old Bill.
zum Tanz im Wiener Wald, zum Tanz im Wiener Wald. Der Lenz ist kommen über Nacht, dir der prangt in Blütenpracht, am Himmel lacht die Sonne und das Herz vergisst den Schmerz, lächeln jubeln himmelwärts, laut vor Wonne auf zur Sonne und das Herz vergisst den Schmerz, lächeln jubeln himmelwärts, denn im Wald ist ein neuer Tag. Am halben Mitterlein darf ich dein Tänzer sein, sanft mit dir verleben, heiter durchs Leben, wenn dann so lieb und traut auf tief ins Auge schaut, sanft ich mich Brust an Brust, welch holdselige Lust. La 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 wir so Brust an Brust, oh welche große Lust. Auch mein Mädel frisch zum Tanz, schmückt die Locken mit dem Kranz. Komm mein Herzchen, Schatz, komm bald zum lustigen Tanz im Wiener Wald. Heute fluchte leis die Geigen, laden uns zum Reigen, Bächlein rauschen, heimlich plauschen, Liebespärchen kosen unter wilden Rosen und es singt, oh, verweil doch du schöne Jugendzeit, oh, verweil, oh, wo die Liebe noch grün und das Herz ist so weit und die Welt voller Freude und Seligkeit. Wenn froh das Lenz vorüberschallt und von den Bergen wieder hallt, wie Lust zum Tanz im Wiener Wald, zum Tanz im Wiener Wald. Sie kommen über Nacht, jede Prang in Frühlingspracht, am Himmel lacht die Sonne und das Herz vergisst den Schmerz, lächeln jubeln himmelwärts, laut vor Wonne hoch zur Sonne und das Herz vergisst den Schmerz, lächeln jubeln himmelwärts, denn die Welt ist neuer Tag.
If you could demonstrate your methods on my hands, Dr. Charlotte Falk.
With greatest pleasure. But you must remember that I'm a scientist, and a proper analysis takes us more than 1 hour, so I can only give some general indications. First of all, I look at the back of the hand, at the proportions between fingers and palm, at the nails, at the phalanges. All this reveals to me the general state of health and especially of the endocrine system. After this, I look at the composition of the lines. They tell me a lot, but by no means the whole story. You know, I have divided the hand in zones, in 3 zones. First, the zone of emotions. Second, the zone of perception. Third, the zone of instincts. I consider your hand dominated, your personality dominated by the zone of instincts. I imagine that you could find your way alone in the dark.
Yes, I can.
And your sense of smelling seems to me very much developed. And by the shape of your little finger, that you have a sense of hearing as a horse.
The wrap with this bathing suit worn by Maquette is of silver silk oilskin. The bathing suit is telescopic and adapts itself to any figure. The colors are grey, white and black in a square pattern. Betty is in a cream-colored silk oilskin with a design of mottled butterflies at the two corners. Underneath is another telescopic swimsuit, this time in red, white and yellow. Jean's leopard coat is particularly suitable for sportswear and point-to-point meetings. Under it she has on a high-neck dress in a tulip design of red, green, blue, white and black. There is Joan in a natural black and white kid coatee. Very Chinese looking is the crepe de chine frock worn under it, which is finished with yellow and red. Audrey is wearing a model from the finest quality grey moire lambskins. This coat is probably one of the finest expressions of the furrier's art. There is Betty wearing a beautiful coat made from the finest quality silver fox skins. This is Audrey in a natural Canadian mink coat made in a swagger style. Joan is dressed in paisley jersey silk, patterned in green, red and gold with a white background. This attractive evening gown in pure silk flowered crepe is worn by Betty. The colors are red, green, white and blue. Here we have Jean in an embossed piqué overprinted with flowers. The green floral design on a white background has a black edging. Maquette is wearing a short white evening coat of Canadian ermine. This evening cape is made from the finest quality natural white Arctic foxes.
Just across the street from me, there's a girl that you'll agree is free as a girl can be, but she never goes out with men. There's a fellow calls each day in his little Ford coupe. Across the street I hear her say, why the same thing over again. I might go here, I might go there, I might meet you anywhere, but again to afford to take the air. Oh, I couldn't do a thing like that. When a girl gets in a car, why fellows want to go too far, and I'm the same as most girls are. So I couldn't do a thing like that. I'm not the kind of girl who's fond of getting out and walking. And Henry didn't build close cars for sitting in and talking. You say you're not the petting kind, and that it's country air that you want to find. But I know just what's on your mind. So I couldn't do a thing like that. I might meet you around 3:30, go to the club to Hampton Sit. But to take you up to the house with me, oh, I couldn't do a thing like that. I might go strolling through the park and let you kiss me for a lark. But strange things happen in the dark. So I couldn't do a thing like that. He says when he takes me out that he just loves me like a brother. But if he don't stop some things, why I'll just have to tell my mother. He's a deaf and dumb, I heard, talks with his hands, but it seems absurd. Last night he thought of a brand new word, and I'm afraid I kind of fell for that.
Now, Miss Kilpatrick, will you show the latest steps of the natural turn?
Yes, shall I do it on the chart?
Yes, it's much clearer. Right. Left foot back onto point 2. Right foot to the side onto point 6. Those left foot to right foot. Right foot forward onto point 9. Left foot to the side onto point 12.
Brush right foot up to left foot and step back with the right foot onto point 11. Thank you very much. Now we will demonstrate one or two of the newer variations for our keen dancers.
On a matron fair, I fixed me eye beneath the fertile veil. As she sang her song, 'twas on the rung of me poor old granule.
Stop that. That's no song to be singing in these times.
Sergeant, I was only singing to keep me heart up. It sinks when I think of him. To think of that terrible rebel. We sitting up here on the barrel, and he may be creeping up the keys to get at us.
Are you keeping a good lookout?
I am, Sergeant, for no reward either. Well, haven't I the foolish man? But I never yet saw a man in trouble that I didn't try to get him out of it. What's that? Did something hit me?
You'll get your reward in heaven.
Oh, I know that, Sergeant. But life is precious, as the tailor said when he ran from the gander.
Well, you may sing if it gives you more courage.
Thank you, Sergeant. Her head and hair, her hands and feet in iron bands were bound. Her pensive strain and mournful air mingled with the evening gay. And the song she sang in mournful strain, I am old Granule. Her lips so sweet that monarchs kissed.
That's not it. Her gown she wore was stained with gore. That's it, you missed that.
You're right, Sergeant. Well, now, to think of a man like you having acquaintance with a song the like of that.
Oh, there's many a thing a man might know and mightn't have any wish for.
BBC Television. This is the switchboard of Picture Page, a topical magazine introducing visitors, types, and personalities. You're through. You're looking at Type Major Massey, the bagpipes man from Trafalgar Square. Leone, the vagabond violinist. Harry Haynes, a muffin man. You're looking at Colonel Hughes, DSO-OBE, showing helmets of the British Cavalry Regiment. You're looking at Oliver Oldfield, who cleans London statues. The Pearly King and Queen of Blackfriars, Mr. and Mrs. Tinsley. Sergeant Major Lynch of the Royal Hospital, Chelsea, with 2 Chelsea pensioners. Josh Cairn, a London street musician. The racecourse character, Ras Prince Monolulu. You're looking at dancers from the English Folk Dance and Song Society.
As well as showing you the artists and speakers who you've just seen, television has also attempted original productions and special presentations. Before showing you some of the artists who have appeared in these, I would remind viewers that this is a special film survey of some of television's program activities. It is coming to you over the air, not from the studios direct, but from film, and is being transmitted in the same way as if it were a news reel. Passing on now to some of the special productions, one of the first was
Old Time Music Hall with...
Look here. We may as well understand one another before we go any further. I have not come here to be made a laughingstock. No, please, please. Remember where you are and temper your hilarity with a modicum of reserve. Have you heard this one? Now, don't encourage me, or I'm liable to outwit something at any moment. Then who gets the blame? Well, I mean to say...
and which included Ada Chirito and Charlie Lee. The Ballet Rambert in Passionate Pavane.
Overshadowing the holiday weekend was the tragedy of Ford Station. Here, at a small Sussex junction, died 9 people, 4 of them children. All holidaymakers, they were killed when an electric train from Brighton to Portsmouth crashed into the rear of a stationary local train. The Portsmouth train was a Navy Day excursion, one of many run to southern ports to watch the Navy at home.
For Navy Day at Chatham, ships were dressed overall as sailors gave up their holiday weekend to play host to the thousands of people to whom the Royal Navy is a never-failing attraction. Among the ships opened up to them was the 2-man submarine, participant in many wartime exploits. Laid on some special treats, turning the august Royal Naval Barracks into a small fairground. As a finale, the Naval PT School showed its 7,000 guests that Chatham sailors are quite at home too in the air. From a wooden horse to the more lively type, the 4-legged one. In this case, they were cart horses, 12 heavy farm horses, which had been entered by their owners for the Cart Horse Derby, run off over a 2-furlong course on the Sussex Downs. A ragged field, an early spill, it all added up to a derby even Epsom had never equalled. And as they turned into the bend, one horse stood out above all the others, the Grey Prince, pounding into the lead and never looking likely to lose it. And sure enough, the Grey was a winner all the way. Several lengths ahead of the field, Prince passed the post to win the Gordon Richards Cup, presented by Gordon Richards himself to Prince's jockey, Kenneth Doggett, the local man who had his first riding lesson only 2 weeks ago. Racing too during the holiday weekend were 4 young ladies. Around Bristol, they've always been known as the Good Girls, for that, in fact, is their name, the Good Quads. Now 3 years old, the quartet that made the Good name famous, Bridget, Frances, Elizabeth and Jennifer, had come to Lochleys to join the sports day and stage their holiday race by tricycle. While the Good Girls were one of the sights of Bristol, other equally good children were shown the sights of London. Here, the weather was very different from that of the West Country. The bright periods of the first day and the holiday weekend had passed over, but the determined ones were not to be put off. Weeks of sunshine had put the gardener far behind with his work. And for him, like many others, the weekend was spent working and watching those with different ideas, the tens of thousands bound for the seaside. Along the Cornish coast, it was summer weather as usual, with temperatures staying up in the 70s. For those who come to Cornwall year after year, this is the almost perfect holiday picture. Others, of course, were determined to take their pleasures more seriously, and with this in mind joined the trek to Southend.
Lord Ronald, a masque by H.D.C. Pepler. Ebony, which included Nina Mae McKinney.
Baby, baby, let the dinner dishes go and follow the crowd. Meet Harlem's Dynamo. Baby, baby, leave the milk and butter out and hustle, just bustle along so you can shout over 6'2". Who's the king of Lenox Avenue? Someone different with a something new. Papa treetop tall. Now every gigolo goes around complaining times are slow since the Harlem babies came to know Papa treetop tall. Now every Pullman porter will tell you that his fame is known. Down in Bammy, every brown-skinned daughter wishes he'd be her own. Even Mammy in 1,000 flats, who's the topic of 1,000 chats and 1,000 little family spats. Papa treetop tall. Now we're 6'2", who's the topic of Lenox Avenue. Someone different with a something new. Papa treetop tall. Now every gigolo goes around complaining times is slow since the Harlem babies came to know Papa treetop tall. Now every Pullman porter will tell you that his fame is known. Down in Bammy, every brown-skinned daughter wishes he would be her own. Even Mammy in 1,000 flats, who's the topic of 1,000 chats and 1,000 little family spats. Papa treetop tall.
Hooey, which starred Francis Day, Adele Dixon, and Cyril Richard. Pastiche, which included Stuart Robertson and Eric Wilde and his Tea Timers. Vauxhall, with Quentin Todd, Vivian Lamberley, and Linda Gray. Presented with a prelude by Elizabeth French. Thomas and Sally, with Dennis Noble, Colin Cunningham, and Joan Collier.
Well met, pretty maid, now don't be afraid. I mean you no mischief, I vow, I mean you no mischief, I vow. So what is to ail? Come give me your pail, I'll carry it up to your town. Then here we'll sit down, come, never frown. No longer my bliss I'll retard, no longer my bliss I'll retard. Kind Venus shall spread her veil overhead, and the little robe you bid, keep God. What's this I see. Can I believe my eyes? A pirate just about to board my prize. 'Twas well I this way chanced my course to steer. Sal, what's the matter? Steph, who's here? Hello, pick on, or learn your phrase to mend. Do you sheer off, or blood, I'll make you friend. Let go the wench, I claim her for my share. And now lay hands upon her if you dare. Since her paltry inclination stoops to such a thing as you. Thus I make a recantation. Thus I make a recantation. Foolish, low-lived wench, adieu. Foolish, low-lived wench, adieu.
which included the Aspidistras, James Topping, and Lionel Solomon.
Do hear the gentle lark, weary of rest, from his moist cabinet mounts upon high, and wakes the morning from whose silver breast the sun arises in true majesty. The sun arises in true majesty.
The Policeman's Serenade, which included George Baker as the policeman. Pasquinade, which included Hermione Baddeley, Valerie Hobson, and Lawrence Henry. The Vic Wells Ballet in Facade.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that ends this short demonstration. And before you see the television orchestra again, I would remind you that this is essentially a film demonstration, specially prepared to give viewers, and particularly new viewers, some idea of the range of subjects in entertainment and interest covered by the BBC television service.
Thank you.